After some early season concerns, Cade Cunningham has arrived. The last three games, Hawks, Warriors. Cade Cunningham has played very, very well. And in games that we had guys like Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson didn't play, Trae Young. There were a lot of good players on the floor, and Cade Cunningham in all of those games was like, hey, anything you can do, I can do. He did it in his own way, but it was a lot of fun to watch, to be completely honest with you. So we are going to be looking at kind of what has changed in Cade Cunningham's game, or at least talking about it, and why we are so excited. And he is looking like a number one pick. Also, kind of nice to see the Pistons get back to that victory side of things, right? Warriors come to town. We're wearing the teal. We're looking good. We're feeling good. And then we go out and just get something. So that was a lot of fun to watch. But what I want to talk about even more in this video is the difference that we've seen in Cade Cunningham. And I would argue that he played better against the Hawks than he did against the Warriors. But either way, we got the W against the Warriors because the rest of the team came along for the ride. It was nice to see Cade Cunningham playing well. Jaden Ivey played well when he needed to play well. There was a lot of mistakes early on, but he was kind of being carried along by Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham. And then as the game wound down, he made some big plays. So I think that's something to look forward to. That's something to be excited about with Jaden Ivey. But right now, I just want to share with you and kind of look at the two players that we've seen from Cade Cunningham this season. So if you look at these first four games, what you're going to see is low field goal percentage right here. You can see it where my mouse is. It won't click perfectly, but in the first game, 37.5, 37.5, 42%, 36%, off of 16 or 19 shots. The shots were low, and they were not going in at a high clip. This is obvious stuff. The free throws have stayed about the same. He is a good free throw shooter on the year, and he's getting 84.4% in. I'd be fine with that. Got a little higher, but let's start this with the shooting. Then we're going to go into more of a couple of hidden stats that we're probably not thinking about as much. And I'm going to talk to you in this video about why all of a sudden he's a walking triple double, or at least it seems that way. And the first one is he's getting up more shots. He's just getting up more shots. If you see in this game right here against the Atlanta Hawks, this is the first and only game that he played the whole game without Jaden Ivey. I'm not saying Jaden Ivey's bad for him. That's not what I'm saying. Jaden Ivey is very good for him. What I am saying is he knew he had to carry the scoring load. And when he knew he had to carry the scoring load, he put up 25 shots. He was really hot early in the first half. Second half, he couldn't hit anything. But he ended up 44%. And I think something clicked for Cade Cunningham in that game. And here's what I think it is. I think what clicked for him is I understand that he's a guy who loves to pass. This is something that people criticize LeBron for in the first decade of his career for as well. But he's a guy that loves to pass. He wants to get his teammates involved. In fact, he talks about that often in wanting to get his teammates involved. And he's like, maybe what's best for this team is for other people to get up shots. What I think he realized and what I think clicked for Cade in his head is if he's aggressive, if he's going after his, then people collapse to him. And then his natural instinct, which is to pass the ball to create for others, kicks in. But when the defense has to collapse and go on Cade, when they know if Cade reaches the elbow, it's a bucket. All right, because that's his spot. Oh, he loves the elbow and he loves the mid-range. We've seen DeMar DeRozan do it. The difference between Cade and DeMar, Cade can pass much better than DeMar could, especially at that stage in their careers, year two. So when we're seeing these things, we can't help but be just a little bit excited when all of a sudden he's being aggressive. And the numbers don't lie, people. If we look down here at the assists, when we look at the assist, in the last three games, he's had 6, 8, and 9 assists. So he's averaging like 7.6 assists, something like that. That is significantly higher than before. The 2 games before that, he had 3 and 4 assists, then 7 and 10. But when he was looking to get shots for others first, his assist numbers weren't better. And that's because the defense didn't have to focus in on him. If he's going to play passively, the defense can just let him go. So when he's playing hard, when he is the best scorer on the team, which he is at this stage in the career, Jaden Ivey might get to become a better scorer. But right now, Cade is the best bucket on this team. All of a sudden, things started to change. And when he was aggressive, when he was going for it and he's in the flow, all of a sudden, last 3 games, rebounds 8, 9, 10. All right. So last night he went, and of course the scoring is going to follow. As we can see, he went 26, 35, 23. So he's averaging almost 30 points a game during this stretch, 28 or so. He's averaging 9 rebounds and he's averaging 7.8 assists. Are you telling me right now, if Cade Cunningham, and you won't do this for the rest of the year, if Cade Cunningham went 27, 9, and 8 for the year, you tell me that dude's not an all-star? And even with the slow start with the first 4 games, he's still averaging 22 and a half, 6 rebounds, almost 7 assists. The guy is playing well. He's a fantasy dream right now, as long as you're not too worried about percentages, field goal percentage. But that's only one thing. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit. And I think the biggest thing for me is that an aggressive Cade is what we want. Cade a couple of times took a shot where another guy was open. Bogey first, because Bojan Bogdanovic is really good at being like, that was open, right? And he's a good coach on the floor and all these things. And you could tell he got frustrated a couple times until Cade made it. One time it was a 3-pointer that Cade knocked down when he could have done one more pass to Bogdanovic. But I think he actually read that one right because they had 2 guys, one closing on each of them. So that pass would have just taken time. Another time he went to the lane, ended up doing a fadeaway on the baseline, and Bogdanovic was open at the top of the key for 3. And Cade was like, no, I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in anyway. Cade has proven that he is not a selfish basketball player, but it's time for him to get a little bit selfish. And that's what he did in these 3 games. And I was really encouraged to see that even when Ivy came back, he still got up 20 shots. I want this guy getting up 20 shots a game, period. And I think if you're a Pistons fan, you want the same, because our offense goes as Cade Cunningham goes, and that's the way it is going to be for a little while. That's just, it's that simple. So you get to see this team firing on all cylinders. You get to see when Cade is going and he has confidence, it increases the confidence of Saddiq Bey. Bogdanovic is a pro's pro. He's going to just have his shot no matter what everybody else is doing. It increases the confidence of Isaiah Stewart. Everybody on this team was playing harder and more excited to play well because they knew they had what was arguably the best player on the floor. On a night that they were playing the Warriors, they get a W because the Pistons had arguably the best player on the floor. And we know we looked the best because we were wearing those teal uniforms. So excited to see what Cade's going to do the rest of the year. People, the record isn't phenomenal at this point. I think, what are we, 2-6, something like that? If that's how many games we've played. Otherwise we're 2-5, I think might be it. So, and look at me, like, actually trying to do this on the video. No, I'm not doing that. But the young talent is starting to show out a little bit, and we saw defense play. So that's probably a whole separate video on the Pistons and the excitement there. So anyways, really excited about what the Pistons are doing. Really excited about the young talent. Now that the season's going a little bit, we just had to have a little patience, and we're starting to see what Coach Dwayne Casey's doing, and we're starting to see these players find their groove on this team because they haven't played with each other a ton. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Cade is good. I'm really happy we drafted him. Really excited to watch him for the next decade. See ya.